So it is currently just a little bit past 6 p.m. on Thursday, March the 3rd, 2016, and welcome to yet another video log. So I decided to do this one Thursday evening instead of Friday morning because honestly the difference is at best minuscule. So, and I have a little bit more free time right now, so I'm like, well, might as well just do it now, right? Okay, anyway, so week 2 of classes is basically done. Okay, fine, it is done. I have one lecture tomorrow, so that's really not that big a deal. I don't have any tests or anything. So it's nice because I've gotten to, I've had 2 weeks now of classes, so it's 2 weeks of kind of getting a feel for it. And I forgot how much I like classes. It was kind of funny, actually. My bosses back at Rockwell Collins were like, oh, students go back to school, and most of them are like, oh, please get me out of here. I'm tired of school. And don't get me wrong, it's not like, I would constantly take school over work or otherwise because getting paid is kind of nice. But I will say that I'm enjoying school a lot more than I think I did before I left. So before the co-op and all of that. Like, the stuff I'm doing is really, really cool and all of that. And it just really, I'm just loving it. It's nice learning again, filling up notebooks with information and lectures and, finding economics textbooks and stuff like that. Cola. Anyway. It's just really nice to be back learning again, and it's so weird because, everyone's like, oh, I can't wait to be done with school, and again, don't get me wrong, I'm not like, definitely don't want to be a perpetual student, but it's really cool. It's just really nice being back in the saddle, or whatever. So I'm loving classes. I have a test on Monday, which is a little scary. It's my engineering economics thing, which is actually one of my favorite classes because it's so applicable to so much stuff. So I'm not just engineering, although it is, because it's about the time value of money. How do we, when you have to take out large loans, when you buy big equipment, when you do all this stuff, how do you manage your money so that way you're not getting, screwed over or whatever by interest rates and payments and all this stuff? Or if you're investing money, how can you make sure you get the biggest return on said money? It's really, really cool. And not complicated, but it's one of those things where I'm not familiar enough with it. It's not hard. I know it's not hard, comparatively speaking, but I haven't yet immersed myself in it, so I don't feel super, super comfortable. So unlike aspects of thermodynamics or like materials where I was able to like immerse myself in it, and I'm like, yes, this and this and this, and I understand all of it, that hasn't quite happened yet with the economics one, which is fine, because it's only the second week of classes. And I have time set out where I'm going to be studying economics over the coming weekend and all that sort of stuff. And, yeah, so it'll be fine. So I'm loving classes. Just too long, didn't care. I'm loving classes. I'm really glad I'm back in them. It's really nice to be doing stuff. I guess to switch to something related to classes, emailed a bunch of professors about research opportunities. I think I mentioned in the last video. I'm going to kind of switch my focus less on internships, more on research opportunities. And one of them's already responded. It kind of helps that I'm one of his students. It's actually my renewable energy one, which is kind of cool because that is something that does interest me. It's not something I don't care about. It's something that I find kind of cool. So it would be at least mildly relevant, I have a window and occasionally people walk by. Sorry. Anyway, so I already got some response. Starting next week, because have been a couple days by next week. Actually, it'll be almost a week by next week. Funny how that works. I'll start, calling or kind of dropping by offices. Hey, what's up? I'm that American that managed to email you earlier and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed it goes well. Have no proof that it will. We'll see. Moving on. So there's a really, really cool, they call them Res Talks. So like residence hall talks. Basically the Department of Residence or whatever hosted a man named Paul de Gelder. Crap, I really should look that up. Maybe I'll put a link in the description. But Paul was an Australian Navy clearance diver, which meant basically the shortest way to explain that job is that he was the spec ops of diving. Like, so explosive ordnance removal, like tactical insertions, all kinds of crazy stuff about like just general diving, just like the most cool diving ever. And then he was attacked by a shark while in the line of duty. It wasn't like he was in a combat situation, but he was in an active training exercise. Got attacked by a shark, lost his right hand and almost all of his right leg. And it's just a really, really cool success story and a nice little injection of motivation that maybe I didn't need, But was really, really, really welcome and really well timed. So I'm really, really glad I went, because it was about a guy who, overcame a lot of adversity. Didn't grow up in the best way. Kind of not really on the streets would be wrong, but kind of seedy underground sort of stuff. Went into the military, managed to turn his life around, managed to find something that he loved doing. He goes down in history as so far, I think, the only person I've ever encountered who went into infantry and actually liked it, like actively enjoyed it and said, this is what I like and I love. Anyway, it's basically about a guy overcoming all these adversities and still really enjoying life and really just seizing it and doing stuff with it, which is great. And it's really, really good to hear. Even if some of the messages I've heard before, that doesn't mean you don't like hearing them, especially by someone who's actively lived it. And, they're not just preaching it to get money, they're preaching it because they believe in it and they want other people to believe in it too. Which is really cool in my opinion. Hey, but what do I know? Other stuff. So, I have a list here. That's why I keep looking down. Stuff like that always bothers me in videos, so I feel the need to explain. So, one thing is I'm now a somewhat proper Australian. Oh, I got my wallet here so I can even show it. So, a couple things. Not proper. I shouldn't say proper Australian. I don't have a driver's license or a lot of other stuff. But, bear with me. So, one, I have this thing called an Opal card. Basically, it allows me that in a lot of places in New South Wales, I don't want to say anywhere, but in a lot of places in New South Wales, I can just tap onto a bus, dings me that I've gotten on, and then when I get off, I tap it again, and it charges me the lowest, most appropriate fare. And I already get a discounted fare, so without this, I was paying $3.80 per trip. Now I'm paying $2.50, I think, for like an hour-long trip, which, given how much I'm going to have to ride the bus and the train and everything else, is significant, to say the least. Got my debit card, got all this stuff wrapped up and put together, which is nice. It's good to have stuff together. Also, let me swing my lamp to oh god, that was awful. Illuminate it slightly more. Got an Australian flag, because why not? Also, I've actually legitimately wanted one for a while now. So, yay, got one. That'll be one of several souvenirs that I get. Trust me, there will be a lot. I will probably be getting rid of stuff in my suitcase, to be frank. But no, I got all that, which is good. Started doing some cooking, which is nice. I love cooking, and that first week I was not doing nearly as much cooking as I like to. Now I am. Ooh, what's the little things in life? Signed up for the Newcastle University Diving and Exploration Society, which, if you can't put that acronym together, spells nudes. Seriously. Anyway, it's a diving society, and I joined it, paid my fees, so now I have to go get scuba certified, which I will have to pay for, but oh no, it'll last a lifetime, heaven forbid. But get scuba certified, and then I'll start going on trips with them. They do trips almost every weekend, which is great, because as long as I keep my studies up to date, I could have free weekends, and that means free weekends to go diving and other stuff and exploring. In fact, if I recall correctly, in about a month, they're going on a trip to Seal Beach. There's gray nurse sharks, and that really excites me because I have a bucket list, and one of them is to see a shark in the wild. Another one is to touch a shark in the wild, but I'm probably not going to do that, honestly, because I'll be new to scuba diving, and I believe nurse sharks have good temperaments. I should probably look that up again. But you don't mess with a shark. They're sharks. You don't do that. Other stuff. Actually, it starts to really close down on it, which means this will be a short video, so woo, right? In general, things are going great. It's nice starting to kind of get into a rhythm and getting into a routine and figuring out what I want and stuff like that. I guess one thing for Australia that when I came here, I expected to just fall into the country and want to live here for the rest of my life. And this is a great country, and I could live here, reasonably speaking. But what I'm finding more and more is that Australia is helping me focus on what I want out of life and otherwise, and that's just by just talking with and seeing the people that are around me, seeing what the opportunities are and all this stuff, and thinking, okay, what do I actually want? What do I really want in life? So it's like Australia is like the lens that is helping me focus what I want to do with my life and get out of my life and all that other stuff, which is a really cool kind of change to what I was expecting. Again, I expected to come here and just I want to live here now because this place is perfect. And this place is pretty amazing. But I think I want something else. At least right now I want something else out of life. Which is fine. At least I think it's fine. I think it's fine. But it's helping me, like, so writing, right? So I'm writing various novels. I think everyone knows that. And I've done more writing in the last about 2 weeks now, 2.5 weeks. I've done more writing, put out more pages in the last 2.5 weeks than I basically have in the last 2.5 months, barring when I finished a certain chunk of The Unnaturalist. And what that tells me is that I'm entering this period, this point in my life and like how I want to see things. I want to get done the stuff that really, really matters to me, and that's what I want to focus on. It makes a lot more sense in my head, and maybe I should have rehearsed this a few more times, but oh well. Deal with it. To get out of all this babble, though, is that I'm really enjoying myself here, and my time here, I think, is really helping me focus in and laser in on what I want to get out of life and what I want to do with my life long term. Which is kind of cool, because I'm only 22, and starting to figure that out more and more and more, apparently is a bit of an oddity that doesn't happen very often. Maybe. I don't know. People tell me that. I don't really know, actually. I'm trying to think of other stuff. Now that I have that Opal card, there'll be a lot more exploring, adventures, stuff like that, because before I always had to make sure I had the bus fare on me, and now the bus fare, is a card, which is nice. Same with having a debit card now. I feel a little less hesitant to use money, because it's Australian. I have access to actual cash. There's so many places here that only take cash. Mostly food places, which is kind of a big deal, because like, oh hey, I've been out for 3 hours, I would like a meal. Oh wait, I can't. Or otherwise. So there'll be a lot more like in-town adventures that I plan on going now, because I can. So that means hopefully more pictures, which means unfortunately I'll have to probably go back to my that other camera setup, the really, really quiet one, because of some weird stuff that Lightworks does. Oh well, I think we'll just have to get over it as a people. Mike comes in soon. That's really exciting. I've done a lot of planning out for that, so like figuring out how Mike and I are going to get, from the airport up to Newcastle, from Newcastle, well, we know how to get like in Newcastle to the airport, given that neither of us have cars. In America, we all have cars, right? Like everyone has a car. I've been lucky enough to have a car as well. Fortunate enough, a lot of people my age don't have cars. And so getting from point A to B is just, oh, what's Google Maps say? Well, now it's like, oh wait, I have to worry about bus schedules and transferring buses and this whole litany of things that before wasn't a problem, and now it is. But I'm figuring it out, and it's really cool. It gives you a sense of empowerment. Like, yeah, I know exactly what I need to do. I need to do, this to that, to this to that. You know what I mean. So it's really cool figuring out all this stuff. And I'm starting to do that with kind of the trips I want to take, because there was a scavenger hunt over the weekend, and that was kind of cool. But what I got out of it the most is getting to see Newcastle and seeing places I wanted to go to. There's a whole mess of beaches and like weird little shops and stuff. Like there's a military surplus store that I want to go to, because I think a very awesome souvenir would be to get something from the Australian Army, or Navy or what have you. Just because you don't get much more unique than that. You can definitely buy a boomerang anywhere. You can buy the boomerangs in the airport, but you can't buy, potentially a Royal Australian Air Force jacket or hat or something. So I feel like that would have a lot of, and then that whole thing has a story behind it too. But we'll see. Who knows what I'll get. Souvenirs, I'm only been here for 3 weeks, and while I want to start thinking about souvenirs now, I also don't want it to, consume my life. Okay, I think that's all I got. Finally. Took me long enough, I know. But, quick wrap up. Loving classes. They're pretty awesome. Got to see a really, 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 really cool semi-motivational speech by Paul DeGelder. That was awesome. Getting scuba certified because I joined a diving exploration society, because I wanted to. And I now have a bunch of, I now have a way of getting around Newcastle really, really easily. Besides my awesome flatmates who have all offered me rides all the time, and I can't thank them enough for that. They're really awesome. So that's going to end it for me today. Again, questions, I guess leave a comment. God, that's so weird. Send an email, do whatever, leave a like if you liked it. Subscribe for more if this is the first one you're seeing, I guess. But most importantly, thank you guys for watching. Again, should be about a week unless something really crazy happens. And in the meanwhile, take care. Bye.